Now this is the gallery that is the most important part of the Acropolis Museum. This has been specifically designed to house the Parthenon marbles. And for those of you who know your history, that means the Elgin Marbles. And those are the friezes from the Parthenon that are in the British Museum in London. Now, what you're looking at here is a dress rehearsal. And these are all copies of the frieze. Now this wall here is completely to scale, and this represents the real size of the inside of the Parthenon. Now, we can see the places where the British ones are, as it were, and the Athenian ones are. Now this piece here, for example, is from Athens, and it stays there. And the reason I can tell you that is because it goes all the way back here. That's where the original is going to go. But when the museum opens, there's going to be this copy here from London. And the reason I can tell you that that is a copy is because the wall only goes back that far. Because what happened was, when Lord Elgin took away the marbles from the Parthenon up there and took them back to London, he indulged in an act of what many people regard as vandalism, because he hacked away at the marble behind and just cut away a slither basically behind, which is about 6 inches deep, whereas the one that is in Athens still is about nearly 2 feet deep.
This is a very particular room because we have here the display of all the architectural sculpture of Parthenon. I mean, for the first time we create an environment architecturally correct to present these pieces. For example, we can present here the whole frieze, 160 meters, as this frieze was in the original building. We can put the metopes, the huge panels, around the temple between the columns. As you see here, we have the columns, same number columns as the Parthenon. And at the front and the rear, we'll put the pediments of Parthenon. So we have here all the architectural sculpture of Parthenon, and opposite on the north side of the museum, you can see the Parthenon, the original building.
The one thing you have to remember is that all of these pieces of the frieze are just casts at the moment. They're not the real thing. They're just here to give you an idea of what the real thing is going to be like. And when the museum opens up, supposedly on schedule in September, then these will be taken down and the real pieces will be put in their place. That's the Athenian pieces, of course, because the Elgin Marbles, the British pieces, will remain in the British Museum in London. But once the real pieces are put in here, that's going to put serious pressure on the British Museum to let the Elgin Marbles come back to where they came from.
The pressure is very natural. I mean, we don't do anything to do a pressure. But it is clear that for the visitor, one piece is here in original, next piece in London, the other piece in Athens, next piece in London, and some pieces they are half in Athens, half in London, same piece, same figure. So it is a problem.
Now this is one of the more spectacular elements of the building. You're able to walk off the floor straight over onto a glass area and look down onto ancient Athens. And quite spectacular it is too. What you're looking at beneath my feet are ruins that date back to the 4th century BC, which was the classical period. And the more modern stuff that you're looking at dates back to the 7th century AD, 1100 years on, and that was the Byzantine period. And from ancient, you go to modern.
The purpose is to present this excavation with mostly finds of the private life of ancient people, so we can present in this museum with masterpieces from the official life, from the highlights of the Acropolis, together with the pieces of domestic life. So we created this exhibition here of the finds. We incorporated the excavation into the museum, and will make a special exhibition of the movable finds of this excavation on the site. So people can have both experiences on this museum.
Are you trying to make archaeology more interesting?
I think archaeology is an exciting effort, and I think we should give to the visitors the possibilities to enjoy what the archaeologists enjoy during the excavation.
Now, the one thing that everybody's worried about here are earthquakes, because this is the most seismic place in the whole of Europe. And recently there was a real test for this museum because there was a 6.5 Richter earthquake about 200 kilometers away from here, and yet the building performed magnificently because it is set on ball bearings, and so instead of shaking, it swayed like a ship, and that was the perfect test.